life, which is the life in which the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam now resides in. All we take, as the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam informed us, this dunya, this world that we see, that is an illusion, that is a delusion, and many of us, we bought into the illusion and the delusion. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam said that this dunya mal'una, that it's a curse ba'id min rahmatillah, it's distant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His mercy. إلا ذكر الله الملعونة والملعونة ما فيها. The dunya is a curse, and whatever is in the dunya is a curse. All that we seek to amass, the ummah of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, in this marhat al-Hutha'iyah, in this age, in the marhala, the stage that we've arrived at, that the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam informed us in the hadith of Sayyidina Thawban inside of Abu Dawood, وَلَا يَقْتِفَنَّ اللَّهُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمُ الْوَهَنَ, that Allah Ta'ala will cast inside of your heart wahan. وَمَا الْوَهَنْ ya Rasulullah? What is this wahan? Ya Rasulullah, حُبِّ الدُّنْيَا, a love of that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala مَنْ نَظَرَ إِلَيْهِ مُنْدُ أَنْ خَلَقَهَا, that which Allah Ta'ala has not gazed at since He created it. Jalla Jalaluhu wa Ta'ala Azamatuhu. Hakada the Masir. Hakada we all arrive at. And what is it then that you bring? Our brother Farid, mashallah Ta'ala, is in Sahih al-Bukhari, those mutafarridun by name. وَكُلُّ مُسَمَّ لَهُ نَصِيبٌ مِنْ إِسْمِهِ. Everybody gets a portion of his name. And he got a portion of his name, that name, the mutafarridun, the farid, those who have lost themselves in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not accidental or incidental that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows His funeral, mashallah ta'ala, to be filled with those who bear witness to the type of person he was when he lived. But now, not that he dies, but he lives a higher life. Right? Because the highest life is always with the ma'iyyah of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. We are in a realm that differs from the realm of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He now is in a realm that is with the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Not only of those that inside of Sahih al-Bukhari, من ذكرني يعني في نفسه ذكرته في نفسه. Rabb al-Izzah says, the one who invokes me, who remembers me alone, I remember them alone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many times did Allah Ta'ala remember our brother Farid? Jalla Jalaluhu wa Ta'ala Ta'adhamatuhu. وَمَنْ ذَكَرَنِي فِي الْمَلَةِ. In al-Bukhari, now whoever remembers me in a gathering, ذَكَرْتُهُ فِي مَلَةٍ خَيْرًا مِنْ مَلَةٍ, that I remember him in a gathering that is better than the gathering in which he remembered me in. What gathering does he now reside in? Al-an yusal. As the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, now Munkar enters upon. Now Nakir enters upon. Now Nakur enters upon our dear brother Farid. Our brother Farid Mahfuz, protected by the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that made him exceptional inside of this world. Remember, his name is the exceptional one. And he's exceptional by his connection to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he's exceptional by his dhikr of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu wa Ta'ala Ta'adhamatuhu. And then what about each and every single one of us? Hakada we end. Jibreel alayhi salam, he comes to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Muhammad, hub ma shitta innaka mufariqu. Love whomever you want, you're going to depart from him. وَبِمُفَارِقَةِ لَمَحْزُونُونَ. As the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to Sayyidina Uthman ibn Mad'un, how can we say to our dear brother Farid, by your separation, that we find ourselves in a state of huzn, in a state of grief? Because hakka, the nature of a heart that connects, whenever it has a degree of separation, it falls into a state of grief, and it ties that grief to the grief of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that he had when he lost his companions. But likewise his companions had when they lost the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, only to gain the Rasul once again inside of a higher life. Hayati khairul lakum wa mamati khairul lakum, that my life is good for you and my death is good for you. We take the ibrah, because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does to good people. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does to those who remember Him. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does to those who connect to the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and their heart, their atoms, their quarks are filled with mahabbat in Nabi, with the love of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Not a love of dunya, not a love of houses, not a love of fancy cars, not a love of money, not a love of this thing that is mal'oon and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but mahabbatullah. Love of Allah, but mahabbat Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, mahabbat deen Allah. He can answer, Man Rabbuk? Rabbi Allah. Man Dinuk? Dini Islam. ماذا تقول عن هذا الرجل؟ أي رجل؟ محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. Now is with our dear brother Farid inside of the barzakh, mashallah ta'ala, and the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wasallam will stand guard over those who stood guard over him inside of life, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for nadra, that Allah ta'ala gazes. We ask Allah ta'ala cast inside of our hearts ibrah, that we all take the lesson inshallah ta'ala of how we're meant to live life and how we're meant inshallah inshallah ta'ala, to go into the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, as in the words of Sayyidina Bilal, when he's about his deathbed, غَدًا أَلْقَى مُحِبَّهُ مُحَمَّدًا وَحِزْبَهُ, that tomorrow, the next one, I meet my beloved Muhammad وَحِزْبَهُ, and the party of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, another wa du'a.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Subhanallah.